All right, guys, my name is Jackie McIntosh Shedrick. I am an attorney here in New York, and I'm also the managing attorney for BLK Creative Filings and the Law Office of Jacqueline McIntosh, which also goes by Money Maven Law. Today, I'm really excited about this topic because this is something I have been really wanting to do for a while. And because it kind of hits home for me, it's how to start a business in a pandemic. And the reason why, let someone in. Hey, Cynthia. So we're doing how to start a business in a pandemic. And the reason why I'm excited about this is because I did it. I started BLK Creative Filings in August of 2020. And the reason why it's called BLK Creative Filings is because I was so frustrated with police brutality, the unequalness, our inability to get contracts with the city. And I was frustrated. So I created a business where we've always had our own economy as people of color, as Black people, we've always had our own economy. But what I want to do is help people either start it or build it up. And the way we help them start is by giving free lessons, giving free classes to get them motivated. Hopefully they take this information and move forward. And then if you're, starting, or if you've already started, helping you build up. So let's say you were a sole proprietor, but now you want to be an LLC. Now you want a trademark. Now you need a website. We try to help you make it easier. But we have a bunch of free classes because we really want to encourage entrepreneurship. So I'm going to share my screen and hopefully I do it right. Let's see. And all these slides, like if you can't see a slide or something like that, I email the slides the next day, so don't worry. Alrighty. Mm-hmm. Alrighty. So again, this is how to start a business in a pandemic, presented by Jackie McIntosh and BLK Creative Filings. Who am I? My name is Jackie McIntosh Shedrick. I am a small business owner. I am a business attorney in New York. I'm the owner of BLK Creative Filings. I've been an attorney now. April 1st will be 6 years. So that's exciting. My attorney anniversary is coming up. I went to Michigan State University College of Law, where I was a valedictorian speaker. I've been a business owner since 05, but again, probably since I was 6, selling Kool-Aid off my step across from 116. I am from Jamaica, Queens, New York, and I am a huge, huge Mets, Nets, and Giants fan. I'm really hoping this whole COVID restriction, changes so I can go to a Mets game because I miss them. So we're going to go over how to start a business in a pandemic. And it's really not that difficult. One, you just need to pick a business structure. And I know we have done this, we've done this class before, but I just want to do a quick run through of the business structures you can choose. So in New York, we have 3, well, 4 if you think about it, but you have sole proprietor, you have limited liability company, or otherwise known as an LLC, or you have corporation, where you can do a C Corp, or you do an S Corp. Most small business people will do an LLC, or they'll do a S Corp. And the reason why they may do an S Corp is because they try to get out of the publication fee. But we'll talk about that later. How to be a sole proprietor. Honestly, it's very easy. If you have a product, if you have a service, and you exchange it to someone for money, you're a business person. And you can do that regardless of when it is, pandemic, not pandemic. If you exchange something, if you give a good or a service and someone gives you money back in exchange, you're a business. Just keep that in mind. Generally speaking, you do have to register with your county. That's if you have a DBA. You should register with your county, but don't get hung up on that. If you do register with your county, like in Queens, it's $100, and you just get an EIN from the IRS or use your social security number. How to form an LLC in New York. You don't need an attorney to form an LLC in New York. It's not that complicated. You go to the website, you check for name availability, you file that your LLC to article organization, you pay the fee, and you check your email. Very simple. We do have the publication requirement in New York, and you probably should get a professional to do it for you. But if you can't, you still can do it yourself. So an example I like to use is between sole proprietorship and LLC is Marcus is a self-employed barber, but does not know whether he should be a sole proprietor or form a single member LLC. Here's what Marcus should know. A sole proprietor is a business owned by a single person, while an LLC can start with a single member, but can be expanded. Both a sole proprietor and a single member LLC only pay self-employment tax, no corporate tax, which is great. And when I say no corporate tax, I mean the money is a pass through. So you really only pay tax once. You pay tax when when you do your profit and loss statement. Now, a corporation is it's almost like its own person. So any money that you get from a corporation, like a dividend, that's taxed, but the corporation's profit is also taxed. So it's almost like you're getting taxed twice. Unlike a LLC, a sole proprietor's personal assets are not protected from business debts and liabilities. So the great thing about LLC is that you operate like a sole proprietor if you're a single member. However, your personal assets are protected. So let's say your company, for some reason, gets sued. You wouldn't have to worry about them coming after your house or your car or your bank account. Pretty much whatever the LLC owns, that's all they can come after. All right. I can go into S Corp, but my honest opinion about S Corp is they're not good unless you know you're going to make $75,000 above. And the reason being is taxes. That is it. I know a lot of people try to stay away from LLCs because of New York's publication requirement. And that requirement is that you have to give notice to the state. So you have to put an LLC notice in 2 newspapers for 6 weeks, 1 daily and 1 weekly. And sometimes people think it's really expensive, but it really isn't. And S Corp, you're very limited. You can only have 100 shareholders. They all have to be United States citizens. So if you're from Queens, you know that we have families who want to start a business. However, maybe someone is not a citizen, maybe they're just a resident or something like that. It's really limiting. You're kind of taxed twice, in my opinion. The only way it's good is if you know you're going to make $75,000 or more. So let's talk about branding on a budget. When I started BLK Creative Filings, I did not have this huge budget to do like advertising and putting stuff on billboards, which I would have done anyway, but I didn't have a ton of money like that. However, what I did do though was utilize social media, utilize networking, and utilize things like YouTube, making videos, Zoom, things like this. So I'll start with, first, you really should know your audience. So just because we're in a pandemic doesn't mean that you can't do, you still have to do the most basic of things when starting a business. So who do you want to target? Who's your target audience? Who is your ideal customer? Once you know your ideal customer, then you can figure out where they're at on social media, and then you can go talk to them there. And even if you don't have some ad budget, I have yet to really ever pay for ads. I may have spent in total $100 on Facebook ads. But however, Facebook is one of my biggest lead generators. It's because I know who my audience is. My audience are working people who have a 9-to-5, but they want a second stream of income and they don't have the time to do it themselves. So I know more of my people are going to be on Facebook. I know they're going to be in certain groups. I know they're going to be interacting in certain ways, and I try to interact with them appropriately. And also, this will help you craft your messaging to your client. You want to make sure you're saying the right thing that grabs their attention. So Facebook has been my biggest lead generator. And not because I do Facebook ads at all. And not because I tell people, buy, or you need an LLC attorney and this, that, and the third. I don't do any of that. That's just not a me thing. What I do though, is that I join groups that I know that my ideal clientele is in. So more times than not, my ideal client is community active, are big, they have social justice ideas. They probably like the same type of music I like, like maybe a little hip hop, maybe R&B. They probably read similar books like me. So I join groups that are really geared towards my ideal client. So groups like BRN or Black Long Island or Black Brooklyn or Queens. I join those type of groups and I pretty much have discussions in them. I rarely, I don't think there's ever been a time I said, you must like, oh, please hire me. No, what I do is I engage in the group and meaningfully engage. Like I don't just keep like spamming. If someone has a question about an LLC, I try to answer it. If someone, is wondering about the publication, I answer it. I try to add articles that I think are interesting to people like me. I really recommend not spamming. Like, don't do the whole cold calling or cold emailing on Facebook, like the cold DMs, just hopping in people's DMs. Don't do that. If you don't like people just randomly calling you on the phone, your client won't like you just randomly Facebooking them. Just become more engaging with them. Network, follow up. If someone messages you, try to get back to them within an hour or two, because one, they took the time to get to know you or want to learn more about you. And two, they can go to somebody else. So just remember, like, be on top of it, but don't sell, just give advice, add value, build authority in what you're trying to sell or whatever service you're doing. Instagram. I've had some success on Instagram, and Instagram for me is not like my biggest platform. I think BLK Creative Filings has maybe 60 followers, if that. And weirdly enough, I still have been able to generate, sorry about that. I still have been able to generate leads off of it. So it's been really helpful. And what I use is, I use 30 hashtags for every post. I try to do photos that aren't just about starting a business, but I try to do things that are motivating. And you got to curtail it to what your ideal clientele would want. I always do 30 hashtags. I kind of always write a long caption so people scroll. Recently, I have been doing something called carousels posts, which are pretty much 10 pictures in one post. So people have to scroll and have to interact with you. And I've actually gotten like a client or two off of Instagram. So something that is so free, I was able to get, almost $1,000 worth of work off there for like for nothing. It was free. You want to engage with followers. So don't just spam. Like, how those logo people are like, DM me if you want a logo. No, if you find a post that you think is great, engage in it. Say, oh, I like that. Or, hey, I would like to learn more about it. Because the more you engage, other people engage back to you. Another thing I do is I will follow people who are my ideal client, like who I would love to be my client. And sometimes they follow you back, sometimes you don't, but at least like maybe, let's say you're a caterer and you're following this person who you can tell probably has like family events and things of that nature. And you hear them saying, oh, I'm trying to get ready for a birthday bash or, a birthday dinner, to send them like just a comment like, oh, that's interesting. You should check out my page about this, but here are some tips. Like you can be engaging without having to sell. Another thing I've been doing, and it's very outside of my comfort zone, is doing video content. I know some people get the idea that I'm an extrovert. I am not an extrovert. This is actually very uncomfortable for me, but it's fine. You have to do it. Sometimes you have to be the face of your your business, because if you don't talk about it, no one else is going to talk about it. So you have to be the one that's saying, hey, this is what I do. This is how I provide value. These are things that you should know. And it does work. It's hard because some of us are just not used to being in front of the camera, but it's your business. So you're the one that has to sell it. Don't spam. Don't do the spamming thing. Don't just copy and paste and do that, because your page will get flagged. And follow up with anyone that reaches out. So if anyone sends you a DM that's interested in learning more, follow up. Follow up immediately. Make sure you have your links set up. Make sure you have your pitch set up. I always tell people, like, have a 30-second, or I guess for Instagram, you should have maybe a 20-word thing like, hey, thanks for reaching out. You know, what is your business about? Let's talk about it. And that's really engaging, but it also helps you stay ready. So in case anyone messages you, you're ready to have that conversation. All right. And this one is like the biggest thing, and people can do it, and you can do it for anything. If you're a mechanic, if you're a DJ, if you're a caterer, if you're, selling something, become an authority in that. And a lot of times people think you need to have some big following or like have a ton of YouTube views. You don't. What you do is you create content to inform your ideal customer or prospective customer. So what I do is I do little minute videos, and I show you how to do things. Like I show you how to do an LLC. I show you how to do the publication. I show you how to do a trademark. And so people, hopefully believe that I know what I'm talking about in the subject. They don't know that I've been an attorney for 6 years. They have no clue. What they do know is that I gave them this information. I gave them value, and I gave it in exchange for, most times it's free, or in exchange for like an email address. And that's how you build like authority in your niche. So if I was a DJ, which I think in a weird world, I've always wanted to be a DJ. If I were trying to promote my service, what I would do is I would do Instagram Live, me DJing, but I also would do tutorials for like people having weddings. How do you pick a DJ? How do you pick your first song? When are the good times to play this type of music versus that type of music? You can become an authority in what you do. If I was a caterer, I would do the same thing. I would literally do videos on what's the best table setup, what you be looking for when you're hiring a caterer. What do you do after the fact? So when you're leaving a wedding, who cleans up? Who makes sure things are back in order? That's the type of videos I would do. So, and you can do it on anything. Like girls who do it on eyelashes. I don't know anything about that world, but I'm always amazed by the people who give very detailed tutorials on how to do it. And sometimes you don't have to have a lot of views, but if you keep posting it on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whenever someone Googles you, all this stuff is going to pop up, and then you're instantly going to become an authority, and they're going to come to you. So this is not the end. I just figured I would do this for the video. If you want to learn more about the other stuff, you guys know how to reach me. But what I want to say about my personal experience with starting a business in a pandemic was what kind of helped and motivated me was the fact I realized that having one income was dangerous and really uncomfortable. And at the time of the pandemic, like March 13th, it was the first job I had ever taken as being a lawyer. Like I was like, they gave me an offer. This firm gave me an offer that I could not turn down. It was just, and my mother told me I shouldn't take it. She was like, you're not gonna like it. Let me stop this share screen thing, hopefully. She told me I wouldn't like it. You've been working for yourself for the last, probably since 2005 or so. She said you wouldn't like it, all that stuff. And what I ended up doing, I took it because I was like, paycheck, more money than I've probably seen ever. And then the pandemic occurred and New York courts got shut down. Because what I did before was, I'm a litigator, love being in court. But when you shut the courts down, you don't really need a law. you don't really need lawyers like that. So of course, a lot of attorneys, we got downsized. I was there for 2 months, and then I realized never again. It will never be a time in my life where I'm dependent on one income or that I will work for someone else. That's what the pandemic taught me. Starting a business also made that in a pandemic was kind of great because a lot of us are on equal footing, not equal, but we're in better footing because one, we had the time to strategize. We were forced to stay home, but it forced us to make a plan. Some people, the unemployment was good for them. Some people, some people with more money than they normally get. Some people with less. But maybe you had more funds than normal because of the circumstances. You may be able to use that funding, use it for the business, take care of your bills and all that stuff. But if you have anything extra, maybe that's the opportunity that you may not have had prior to COVID. We've seen plenty of businesses get created over COVID that we would have never thought about. The biggest thing I think about is DJ D-Nice with Club Quarantine. He literally created a whole, he was a regular DJ before, and now he's a superstar DJ, all because he brought all of us together who like music, who were, uncomfortable at home and we were just nervous, and he broke the tension and he created a whole business. Like he was DJing for the Super Bowl. 2 years ago, I had no clue who DJ Nice was. Verzuz, you think about Verzuz. And that's the platform where Swizz Beatz and Timbaland put two artists together they're really not battling, but they kind of battle their catalog. And that's just Instagram Live. Nothing had to be really done other than licensing issues, kind of. But they created that out of COVID. There are so many opportunities you can do. I know with caterers, some people didn't want to cook every day, and sometimes Grubhub gets expensive. I know people who are doing home, cooking people's home dinners or creating a different type of event atmosphere. So I know one person who they bring the movie theater to you in the backyard. And what they do is you're socially distanced, you're in the backyard, they blow up this screen for you, they put these blow up chairs, and they kind of help you bring entertainment to your house because we can't go out. BLK was created, during the COVID. I have one friend, actually she's a client that turned into a friend. She created a baby clothes line, and literally she started in November, and now she's selling out. And I was able to help her through the whole process of, all right, let's think of a name. All right, let's do the LLC. Okay, we got the LLC, let's do the publication. Okay, let's do the website. Oh, you like this color, you like that color. And she created a whole second stream of income that is working so well in the midst of a crazy pandemic. And she's selling baby clothes. And weirdly enough, it's kind of a baby boom because everyone was locked down for COVID. So now people are buying her clothes. And it's wonderful to see that businesses that were created during a time of difficulty and struggle are now doing well and flourishing. And if you're even thinking about starting a business, take your time. But if you're thinking about not doing it because of the pandemic, reconsider it. This is a really good time to do it. You can procrastinate, you can plan all day, but at the end of the day, do it if it feels right to you. So if anyone has any questions, this is the time to do it. It's only two of y'all, so Sylvia, you have any questions? I'm guessing not. Maybe at work. Miss or Minister Jenkins.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hi, good evening. I'm just
Hey.
Hi. I know we have spoken in the past.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you know about my company and my organization. Yeah. I don't know if you're up and running again or.
No, we're up and running. We're up. We are doing this. I had COVID for a period of time. So I'm now
Oh,
back open in the office. I have pictures on my Facebook page. We're back up, we're running. We have 2 new staff members, which is great. I hired someone to literally just do all my web things. Like her job, her name is Aaliyah Jones. Her job is literally to hold someone's hand from the beginning of the website to the end. We have an administrative assistant now. So we're up and moving.